Day for our next guest, the voice of our San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
And I have a feeling he's with us, that it would just be nice to get a nice, easy win out of the way tomorrow and just enjoy the playoff weekend.
Sure.
Just enjoy the playoff weekend. The one, the only, Greg Papa. Good morning.
It's Super Wild Card Weekend. I'm looking forward to this, and I love being in the first game because we'll be able to watch, probably most of the second game, and then all three on Sunday and the Monday nighter between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. So I'm glad we're kicking off Super Wild Card Weekend. We always said the divisional round was the best weekend of the year, much better than the championship Sunday or the Super Bowl, because the big boys come out and you got the 1 seeds. And the old days, you had a double bye, so it was the 1 and 2 seeds at Wild Card Weekend. But the fact that you got 6 games this weekend, starting with the 49ers, this is a football fest. Let's get going.
We're going to spend this entire interview, obviously, talking about the Niners tomorrow and Seattle, except for this question. And I ask because, you're a little familiar with the Raiders, a little familiar with the Raider organization. I think you're a little familiar with Derek Carr. And all week I've seen back and forth, and really for the last, couple weeks since the news hit. But when I saw Derek put out his statements, and we haven't talked about it yet, I wanted to ask you, because I think you know as much, if not more than anyone, what you thought about the whole situation, the handling, Derek himself, his future, the organization. What were your thoughts when you saw this unfold?
Well, we were playing them. It was, obviously the New Year's Day game is the game they benched them. And I totally understand it. I usually you wait until you're mathematically out. And the Raiders, they had a slight chance. 20 things had to fall their way. But they were not yet mathematically out, which is just odd. I haven't seen a team pull the plug before, mathematically they put the X next to you. But that game, the last one he would play as a Raider on, Christmas Eve night in Pittsburgh, he was not good. He would right down the field and throw a touchdown pass to Hunter Renfrow on the first series. But after that, he really struggled. The 3 second-half interceptions, he had 14 this year, a lot late in the year, and he just was not playing well. And I would say, Dave, I don't know, Derek at the height of his career, and I remember his 0-10 start, when he beat out Matt Schaub for the job against Richard Sherman in Seattle, that last preseason game. But the 1 year when it was all going was 2016. And the Raiders were playing the Colts on a Christmas Eve game, and they were winning big. And Derek got sacked. He got hit by Trent Cole, and he wouldn't go down right away. He fought, and his leg got trapped, and he broke his fibula, and he had to have surgery, and he missed the playoff run. Raiders had to go to Houston with Connor Cook as the quarterback and not Derek Carr, and that didn't go well. I'm not sure he ever really recovered from that. I think he doesn't step into throws. It was his front leg, the left leg, that he broke the fibula, and he's a great touch thrower. He's just got great dexterity and ability to put touch on the ball and drop it over the top of coverage. But sometimes you guys got to rip the ball. If Devontae Adams is running a stick route and he's standing there at 8 yards and he's got a guy on each side of him, you can't touch that ball. You got to fire that thing in there. And Derek's capable of it. I've seen him. But he just doesn't do it as much. So I wonder if the front leg is not right, and he just struggles. He misses a lot of throws. And I know the owners have been lukewarm on him for a number of years. When they brought in John Gruden, it was the directive from the organization to fix the broken car, but Jack Del Rio did to him. But I'm not sure he's completely fixed. So I think it's time to move on. And now the question is, where does he go? No one's going to trade for him. His salary the next 3 years just takes him out. No one's going to take on that salary. $32.9 million next year, $41.9 the year after that, $41.2 after that. There's no way. So the question is, how does he restructure a deal? Is he a starting quarterback in the NFL? I would think so. But if I'm a playoff team, I'm not sure I would employ Derek Carr as the quarterback. So, and the bottom line is he broke everybody's records. He's thrown for more yards, thrown more touchdown passes than LaMonica, Stabler, Gannon, Flores, anybody you want to mention, George Blanda, or any quarterback they've ever had. But those guys won, and Derek just did not win. He was 0-10 to start his career, and he wound up 63-79 as the Raiders starting quarterback in 142 starts.
Yeah. Talking with Greg Papa here, voice of the 49ers. All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Greg, it is Seattle. It is San Francisco. There's a natural rivalry there. They only have the 1 year of playoff history, but one of the kind of cliche statements that'll come out when you play a division team is it's hard to beat a team 3 times. You hear that? Well, the Niners beat them twice. There's some good matchups. Over your years of doing this, why do you feel like that phrase is out there? Why is it difficult to beat a team 3 times?
Well, I remember thinking of the Raiders, and Seattle used to be in the AFC West.
Yep.
There was a year where the Raiders went to the Super Bowl in '83 and won. Seattle beat them twice in the regular season, and the Raiders beat them in the AFC Championship game. And we've seen Tampa Bay with New Orleans a couple of years ago, and they won the Super Bowl. They flipped it last year. The Rams in LA against the 49ers, flipped it. I understand that, and it could, it's a different game. This game has a completely separate DNA than the game a month ago in Seattle or the game in September in Santa Clara. But there are things you take from the matchups that you apply to this game, like Charvarius Ward, Mooney Man, followed DK Metcalf around December the 15th, and what a street fight that was. That was just a battle in the alley. That was amazing. The 49ers have shown that he's going to do that. So what does Seattle do? How do they counter that? Well, the one thing is Charvarius does not go into the slot to cover receivers. He'll follow him around outside receiver, but he won't go inside. The 49ers could change that, and he could go inside in this game, but they've not shown that. So, and DK lines up in the slot 17% of the time. So do you take that intel into this game now and put DK in the slot more and get him matched up with Jimmy Ward, or do you try to put 3 receivers to one side and maybe get him matched up with Diamador Lenore, where he could use his size and strength against Demo, who struggles with bigger receivers at the catch point? So those are the things that I look at, the individual matchups and scheme that you've seen them show. How do you, if you've been bothered by that, how do you flip it? What are they going to do to shut down the 49er running game? The 49ers have run on them twice successfully. They do have Al Woods back. They're huge interior linemen. I mean, the guy weighs 350 pounds, plays nose tackle, 3 technique, 5. They'll move him all over the place. You got to get him blocked in the game. He didn't play against the 49ers a month ago. So those are the things that I look at. But I mean, we're going to have a lot of rain. Rain can create weird bounces to the ball. But the one thing that I saw the other day in practice, guys, is how well Brock Purdy throws the ball in the rain, through the rain, and through the wind. So I think they have tremendous confidence that Brock can rip the ball in these elements. But, it's just, I don't think it's necessarily hard to beat a team a third time. I think it's just the intel the team can use from the previous 2, the team that lost. But then, if you're the 49ers, you got beat by things too. You got to change things up. The games didn't go perfectly. So I think it's just the basis that they have, the information that they have from those matchups that they're going to try to flip to their advantage to try to make it a tighter game. But I fully expect the 49ers to control this game. But it's Pete Carroll. He's coached a lot of playoff games. He's got a young team that has not been in many playoff games, most of them. So there's always that element of it. But I understand what you're saying. But the numbers do show. 23 times it's happened, and the team that has won the first 2 has won 14 and lost 9. So you have been able to do it a third time. But there's things they're going to be able to use just by playing the Niners so much, and the fact that they played just a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, and the Niners on the other end of that last year with the Rams, as we're talking to Greg Papa, the voice of those San Francisco 49ers. I'm gonna throw away my Brock Purdy, Trey Lance question and save that for a week. I want to ask you, because you mentioned the rain. Is, in your mind, a rain advantage? Is there one for either team? Is there one team that benefits more than the other or is hurt more than the other?
Well, I mean, they're from Seattle, so they live in rain. I mean, but I feel like I've moved to the Pacific Northwest this year.
Yeah.
How many rain games have the 49ers had?
Yeah.
First game of the year in Chicago, I've never seen rain like that for a football game. And then even the home opener against Seattle, it rained right before that game. The game in Mexico City, it rained right at kickoff. We've had a lot of rain games this year. We've had a lot of rain practices. It seems like every Saturday walkthrough has been a monsoon. But this rain is going to be, Pineapple Express meets Atmospheric River, and you're going to have 30-mile-an-hour winds. And so their last game against the Rams was heavy rain. They practiced in the rain yesterday. They have an indoor facility, obviously, up there, but they went outside. They wanted to be in the rain. 49ers practiced. It was a hard rain day on Wednesday. So I don't think it gives anybody an advantage. Just that ball handling. How do you deal with ball handling? Is you fumble more in the rain? I mean, both these teams are really good on special teams, and both teams have Australian-born punters. Obviously, Mitch Wisnowski with the Niners, but Michael Dixon is from Sydney, and he was kind of, Darren Bennett with the Chargers years ago was the first Australian-born punter, but he's the first of the new wave when they drafted him in 2018, and then the 49ers took Mitch the next year. These guys put funny spin on the ball, the helicopter spin, the banana peel kick, and all that. Yeah. You want to catch one of those balls in the rain?
Nope.
One of the hardest things to do in sport is to field a punt in the rain, because you got to look up into the sky and the raindrops fall right into your eyes, and it's difficult. So you may see teams put twin returners back, two guys back, where you don't have to run as far to catch the punt. I mean, think about the championship game with Harbaugh's teams against the New York Giants, and Kyle Williams fumbling not one but two punts in that overtime loss, and that was a rain game. And I always felt Brad Celia made a mistake in that game by not putting a twin returner back. The Giants did that, one short, one deeper. You could put them side to side or short and deep, just so your guy doesn't have to run a long distance and look up in the sky. So, both teams have had a lot of rain games this year, but you don't know. You don't know. It just could be one mistake here or there. And also, the pass rush gets slowed down a little bit in the rain. Although I think Bosa is built for lower to the ground, where the sloppy track does not affect him as much. But with having Purdy, with Kyle being confident and Purdy being able to rip the ball in the rain and the wind, then I think, you don't have to run it 60 times in this game. You can throw it. And then in the rain, look out for double moves by wide receivers, because they know where they're going. Slant and goes, stutters and goes. Just double move a guy where he thinks he's driving up on your break, and then you double move him right behind. He slips, or he can't recover in the footing. You get a lot of just sloppiness on defense because of double moves. So let's just hope it doesn't cause a weird fumble here and there in this game, and the better team wins the game, because we know who the better team is. It's the 49ers. Well,
if we get that better team win, many touchdown 49ers is heck. I'll take one touchdown 49ers as long as the score is 7-3 or 7-0, and we will be talking either way to Greg Papa next week. Hopefully, onward and upward in the NFC playoffs. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful call tomorrow.
And I want to hear that Brock Purdy, Trey Lance question, dude. You got me intrigued.
It's a tease.
The consultants say, Greg, you do the horizontal teases, the vertical teases. That's a 1 week away tease.
It's a 1 week away. No one's going to remember it, but I am.
It's appointment listening.
I guarantee you next Friday at about 7:58.
Right.
What the hell is he going to ask you about Brock and Trey?
I'll forget it too. Have a great call, buddy. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You too. Take care. As